In the beginning there was nothing but silence. No sun, no moon, no land nor sea. Out of that formless void came chaos, a swirling abyss of possibility. From chaos emerged Gaia, the vast and fertile earth, and soon after Uranus, the endless sky, who stretched above her. When they embraced, creation began. Gaia gave birth to mountains, to rivers, to seas, and finally to children, immense and powerful beings called the Titans. One after another, they came forth: Oceanus, who encircled the world with his waters; Hyperion, whose eyes burned like the sun; Themis, keeper of order and law; Rhea, a mother with a heart of gentle fire; Iapetus, whose strength was iron, and many more. But not all of Gaia's children were fair and calm. She bore the Cyclopes, mighty craftsmen with a single blazing eye, and the Hecatoncheires, monstrous beings with 100 arms and 50 heads. Their power terrified Uranus. One night, as Gaia cradled her children, Uranus descended with shadows in his heart. "These ones," he whispered, his eyes narrowing on the Cyclops, "they are too strong. They will one day rise against me." Gaia drew back. "They are your sons, your flesh. Will you not cherish them?" But Uranus did not answer with love. He seized the Cyclops and the Hecatoncheires and forced them deep into Gaia's body, burying them within Tartarus, the pit of torment in the underworld. Gaia cried out in pain as her children were imprisoned inside her mountains trembling, her oceans roaring in anguish. Every night, Uranus returned, and every night he forced her to bear more children, only to cast them into the abyss of Tartarus. Gaia's heart grew heavy with sorrow, and at last sorrow turned to fury. She whispered to her Titan sons and daughters, "Your father has made me a tomb for my own children. Will none of you stand against him?" The Titans fell silent. The shadow of Uranus was long, and his fury swift. None dared to lift hand against him. All but one, Cronus, the youngest and most ambitious of the Titans, rose from the darkness. His eyes burned with hunger for power, and his hands clenched with restless strength. "I will do it, mother," he said. "I will bring him down. Give me the means, and I will free you from his torment." Gaia smiled, though sorrow lingered in her gaze. From her very essence she shaped a great sickle of unbreakable adamant. She placed it in Cronus's hands, and the blade gleamed coldly in the dim light. "Strike without fear," she told him, her voice echoing like the wind through caverns. "When he comes, strike, and the heavens will tremble." That night Uranus descended once more. The world held its breath. Cronus waited, hidden among the shadows. When Uranus laid himself upon Gaia, Cronus leapt forth with the sickle flashing in his hands. "Father," Cronus roared, "your reign ends tonight." The sickle fell. With one terrible stroke, Cronus severed his father's flesh. Uranus screamed, a sound that shattered the silence of the cosmos. His blood fell upon the earth, and from it rose the Furies, spirits of vengeance, and the giants, beings of immense strength. From the sea foam that gathered around his severed parts, a goddess arose, Aphrodite, radiant and eternal. Uranus writhed in agony, his voice trembling across the heavens. "Cursed be you, my son. As you have betrayed me, so too shall you be betrayed. One of your children will cast you down, and you shall suffer as I suffer now." But Cronus only laughed, his teeth sharp with triumph. He flung the remnants of his father into the void, and Uranus vanished into the eternal night, leaving only the sky above. The Titans gathered around Cronus, their voices thundering. "Hail, Cronus, king of the cosmos, lord of heaven and earth." And so the age of Cronus began. Yet, above, the stars trembled, and deep within Gaia's womb, a prophecy began to stir. Cronus ruled the heavens with a heavy hand. The sickle of adamant never left his side, a reminder of how he had seized power. The Titans built palaces of marble upon the earth, and the rivers of Oceanus encircled the world. For a time, it seemed a golden age had begun. Crops grew without toil, beasts roamed freely, and mortals, newly shaped from clay and breath, lived without fear of hunger or death. Yet though Cronus wore the crown, his heart was restless. His father's final curse echoed in his ears. "One of your children will cast you down." When Rhea, his sister and queen, bore their first child, a daughter named Hestia, Cronus gazed upon the infant with suspicion. Her cries pierced his ears like the hiss of prophecy. With a cruel smile he reached down and snatched her from Rhea's arms. "What are you doing?" Rhea cried, clutching at him. "I will not suffer betrayal," Cronus declared. Before her eyes he opened his jaws, vast as a cavern, and swallowed the child whole. Rhea fell to the ground, weeping. "You are a monster." But Cronus turned away, his belly burning with power. "Better I devour them than they devour me." One by one, the children of Cronus and Rhea were born, and one by one, he swallowed them. Demeter, whose touch could make the fields bloom, was torn from her mother's breast. Hera, proud and radiant, was swallowed next. Hades, dark-eyed lord-to-be, and Poseidon, whose fist shook the seas, were devoured as well. Each time Rhea wept, each time Cronus grew more fearful and more tyrannical. The earth groaned with her sorrow. Gaia whispered in secret to Rhea, "Child of mine, your pain is mine. Will you allow all your children to vanish into his belly?" Rhea bowed her head. "What can I do? He is strong, and I am powerless." But Gaia's voice was like thunder beneath the ground. "No, you are not powerless. When next you bear a child, hide him. I will aid you." So when Rhea was heavy with her sixth child, she fled in secret to the island of Crete. There, in a sacred cave on Mount Dicta, she gave birth to a son. His cries were fierce, his eyes bright with fire. She named him Zeus. The nymphs of the forest came to tend the child, and the goat Amalthea nourished him with her milk. Around the cave, the Curts, armored guardians, clashed their spears against their shields to drown out the baby's wails, so Cronus would not hear. Meanwhile, Rhea wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes and brought it to Cronus. "My lord," she said, her voice trembling, "our son is born." Cronus seized the bundle and swallowed it whole without looking. His curse was delayed, but not broken. In the cave, young Zeus grew swiftly. His laughter echoed through the caverns, and his strength multiplied each day. Amalthea leapt among the rocks, and the boy clung to her horns, fearless and wild. The Curts sang songs of war as they trained him in secret. One night, as Zeus gazed at the stars through the cave's mouth, Gaia's voice reached him like a whisper on the wind. "Child of prophecy, you are destined to end the reign of your father. The sickle that felled Uranus shall not fell Cronus. Your weapon will be thunder, your voice the storm. But you must learn patience. Bide your time, grow strong, and when the hour comes, strike." Zeus's eyes blazed like lightning. "I will free my brothers and sisters. I will tear open his belly and end his tyranny." And so he waited, hidden in the shadows of Crete, the storm of destiny building within him. Far away, upon his throne, Cronus dreamed uneasy dreams. In the darkness he saw a shadow rising, a figure cloaked in storm, a sun with eyes like fire. He awoke with a start, clutching the sickle at his side. For all his power, for all his cruelty, the king of the Titans could not silence the echo of his father's curse. The world trembled, waiting for the storm that would come. Years passed, and Zeus grew tall and strong beneath the shadowed caves of Crete. His shoulders broadened like mountains, his voice carried the rumble of distant storms, and his eyes glimmered with the promise of lightning. The nymphs taught him wisdom, Amalthea gave him courage, and the Curts sharpened his hand for war. But strength alone could not defeat Cronus. The king of the Titans ruled with paranoia, his sickle ever near, his ears ever alert. None dared whisper rebellion in his presence. The Olympians, the children swallowed long ago, remained trapped in the darkness of his belly, their cries muffled, their strength imprisoned. One night, as Zeus sat beside a fire of cedar wood, a new presence entered his life. A goddess approached, graceful and cunning, Métis, daughter of Oceanus. Her hair flowed like river currents, her eyes shimmered with intelligence. "You are the one," she said softly, gazing at him as though she had known him forever. Zeus frowned. "The one to do what?" "The one to bring down Cronus. The one his father cursed. The one Gaia has whispered of. But you cannot face him yet. You must first free your brothers and sisters, for alone you will fall." "And how?" Zeus asked. "They lie within his belly. How can any prison be undone?" Métis smiled and held up a vial of shimmering liquid. "With cunning, this potion will make Cronus retch and disgorge all he has swallowed. But it must be delivered with care. You cannot strike him with force, not yet. You must strike with trickery." Zeus's hand closed around the vial. For a moment the firelight flickered in his eyes like lightning. "Then trickery it shall be. Dash dash dash." Disguised as a cup-bearer, Zeus entered the court of Cronus. The Titan king sat upon a throne of black stone, his face proud but weary, his eyes haunted by unseen fears. Around him stood the other Titans, mighty and proud, Hyperion glowing like the sun, Iapetus grim as a storm, Koios deep in thought, Creus watchful, and Mnemosyne, silent with memory. Zeus bowed low, offering the goblet. "My lord," he said humbly, "a gift of wine, sweetened by the earth itself." Cronus narrowed his eyes. Suspicion coiled in him like a serpent. Yet arrogance overcame fear. He seized the goblet and drank deep. At first there was silence. Then Cronus shuddered, his body convulsed, his jaws opened wide, and with a roar that shook the hall, he vomited forth the children he had devoured. One by one they tumbled to the ground, gasping, their eyes blazing with fury. Hestia, gentle yet fierce, Demeter, the mother of harvest, Hera, proud and indomitable, Hades, dark and brooding, Poseidon, with the seas in his veins. And at last, the stone wrapped in swaddling, slick with bile, rolled across the floor. The Titan hall erupted in chaos. The siblings looked at Zeus, recognition burning in their eyes. "You freed us," said Hera, her voice hard as iron. "You are our brother," said Poseidon, his trident yet unborn but his strength clear. "You are our hope," whispered Demeter. Zeus raised his hand, lightning flickering faintly between his fingers. "No longer shall we suffer beneath Cronus. Together we will overthrow him. Together we will bring a new order." Their voices rose as one. Together. Cronus staggered to his feet, sickle raised, his roar echoing like thunder. "Ungrateful wretches, you think to defy me. You are children, and I am king of the cosmos." But before he could strike, Zeus hurled the stone at his feet. "This false child was enough to fool you. Now the true sun stands before you. Your reign ends." Cronus roared, but the Olympians vanished into the night. Their rebellion sparked but not yet fought. The sky grew heavy with storm, the seas churned with restless waves, and the earth trembled as though she knew that all creation balanced on the edge of war. On one side stood Cronus, king of the Titans, his sickle gleaming with the blood of his father and his eyes blazing with pride. At his side marched the elder Titans, Hyperion, whose radiance blazed like the sun, Koios, keeper of celestial knowledge, Iapetus, fierce and warlike, Creus, master of constellations, and a host of others, bound to Cronus by fear or loyalty. On the other side gathered the young Olympians, their strength newly kindled, their fury burning hot. Zeus raised his thunderbolt high, lightning splitting the heavens. Hera stood at his side, her will unbreakable. Poseidon gripped his trident, the seas roaring in answer. Hades, cloaked in shadows, moved unseen. Demeter and Hestia lent their strength to the growing cause, the earth and the hearth on their side. And with them came allies long forgotten, the Cyclopes, with hammers and forges, casting weapons of untold power, and the Hecatoncheires, monstrous beings of 100 arms and 50 heads, each hand grasping a boulder, each throat roaring for vengeance. Dash dash dash, the first clash shook the universe. The Titans marched from Mount Othrys, their fortress, and the Olympians from Mount Olympus, their newfound seat of power. The skies thundered as Zeus hurled his first bolt, striking the earth in a blaze of fire. The seas rose as Poseidon thrust his trident, drowning entire plains. From Tartarus, the freed Hecatoncheires hurled mountains across the battlefield, crushing Titan legions. Cronus himself strode forward, sickle raised. His voice boomed, "Ungrateful spawn, I gave you life, and now you bring me war. You cannot overthrow the blood that rules the cosmos." Zeus answered with thunder, "Your rule was born of blood, of fear, of betrayal. We will forge a new age, an age of justice and balance. No more shall the children devour the future." Their weapons clashed, sickle against thunderbolt, each strike tearing the sky. Dash dash dash, the war raged for 10 years. For 10 years, the world knew no peace. Storms ravaged the skies, earthquakes shattered the land, seas swallowed coastlines. Forests burned, rivers boiled, mountains split. The very stars trembled in their constellations, watching the chaos below. At times, the Titans seemed to prevail. Cronus' strength was unmatched, and his allies were fierce. Hyperion scorched the battlefield with light. Koios summoned knowledge and strategy to outwit the younger gods. Iapetus struck down warriors with relentless ferocity. But the Olympians endured. Zeus's bolts never ceased, his storms unending. Poseidon's trident shook the earth until even the Titans stumbled. Hades, with his helm of invisibility, struck unseen, sowing fear in their enemies. The Hecatoncheires hurled boulders like pebbles, crushing Titan ranks. The war tore the cosmos apart, but still, neither side yielded. Dash dash dash, in the 10th year, Gaia whispered counsel to Zeus. "Call upon the Hecatoncheires in full. Only they can turn the tide." And so Zeus unleashed them. With their 100 hands, they hurled mountain after mountain, each strike shattering the Titan armies. Their roars drowned out even thunder. The earth itself seemed to rise against Cronus and his kin. The Titans faltered. Cronus fought with the rage of desperation, his sickle flashing like a crescent moon. But Zeus, wielding the thunderbolt forged by the Cyclopes, called down the full fury of the skies. Lightning struck Cronus, the blast blinding and terrible. The sickle fell from his grasp, searing into the earth. One by one, the Titans were overwhelmed. Bound in chains of adamant, forged in Tartarus, they were cast into the abyss from which they would never return. The Hecatoncheires stood guard at the gates of that dark prison, their 100 arms ensuring no escape. At last, silence fell. The storms eased, the seas calmed, the earth rested. The war was over. Zeus stood upon Mount Olympus, his siblings at his side. The thunderbolt crackled in his hand, the symbol of his rule. Poseidon held the trident, master of seas. Hades donned the helm of shadows, ruler of the unseen. Hera, Demeter, and Hestia stood proud, the pillars of family, harvest, and hearth. The age of the Titans was ended. The age of the Olympians had begun. And from the heavens, a new order was born, an order that would shape the destiny of gods and mortals alike. The battlefield of the Titanomachy lay silent, scarred by fire, storm, and shattered stone. Mountains bore the marks of thunderbolts, seas still churned from Poseidon's fury, and valleys echoed with the memory of war cries. For 10 years the universe had trembled, and now, at last, it rested. The Titans lay bound in Tartarus, their chains unbreakable, forged by the Cyclopes in the fires of eternity. The Hecatoncheires stood as eternal wardens, their 100 arms wielding iron clubs, their 50 eyes unblinking. Their roars kept the darkness at bay, so none might dare rise again. Cronus sat in silence, defeated, his gaze cold as stone. He had once overthrown Uranus, but now the cycle of betrayal had come full circle. His rule was broken, his sickle buried deep in the earth, never to gleam with power again. High upon the peak of Olympus, Zeus summoned his siblings and allies. The clouds parted, the sun returned, and for the first time since the dawn of war, the heavens were clear. Zeus raised the thunderbolt, and his voice rolled across the world like a storm reborn. The age of the Titans has ended. A new order shall rise. We shall not rule as tyrants, nor devour our own children. We shall rule with strength, but also with justice. Let the cosmos be divided, that balance may endure. The gods gathered, listening, their faces lit by the light of dawn. Poseidon stepped forward, his trident gleaming, waves swirling at his feet. Brother, the seas are vast, endless and deep. Give them to me, and I will command their tides, their storms, their creatures. My realm shall be the waters that cradle the earth. Hades emerged from the shadows, his helm of invisibility resting upon his brow. His voice was steady, solemn. Then I will claim the underworld. The realm of the dead shall be mine, and I will keep its order, guarding the spirits of those who pass beyond life. Zeus nodded, his eyes flashing with lightning. Then I shall take the heavens. The skies, the storms, the winds, they will answer to me. From Olympus I will watch over gods and mortals alike. And so it was decided. Zeus, king of the heavens. Poseidon, lord of the seas. Hades, ruler of the underworld. The earth itself remained shared, the domain where mortals would dwell, and where all gods might walk. But the order of the world was not merely division, it was the birth of Olympus as the eternal home of the gods. The Cyclopes built palaces of shining marble upon Mount Olympus, crowned with golden roofs that caught the sun. Rivers of crystal water flowed down its slopes, meadows of eternal spring bloomed on its heights, and clouds curled around its peaks, veiling it from mortal eyes. Here the gods feasted and ruled. Here they wove the fates of mortals and heroes. Here their laughter, their wrath, and their love would echo through eternity. Hera stood as queen beside Zeus, her will as firm as the mountain beneath their feet. Demeter blessed the earth with harvest, her touch bringing life to the fields. Hestia tended the sacred fire of the hearth, its flame never dying. And Zeus, seated upon his throne, his thunderbolt in hand, looked down upon the world with eyes both fierce and watchful. Yet not all was peace. For though the Titans were chained, the earth herself, Gaia, still brooded in silence. She had watched Uranus fall to Cronus, and Cronus fall to Zeus. Her heart bore the weight of vengeance yet unfulfilled. From her depths, a new terror stirred, Typhon, the monstrous storm of fire and chaos, born of her wrath. A foe greater than any Titan, a shadow upon the new order. But that is a tale yet to be told. Thus ended the war of the gods. Thus began the age of Olympus. And thus the names of Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia were carved into the fabric of eternity, immortal, unyielding, and ever remembered. The world was forever changed. The heavens thundered with new power. The seas whispered with new command. The underworld stirred with new law, and upon the shining heights of Olympus, the gods reigned, shaping destiny with every breath of immortal flame.